Picture this. It's 2026. Apple walks on stage, shows off the massive, shiny, crazy expensive iPhone 18 Pro Max. And the phone that actually matters most might be the cheapest one in the lineup. The iPhone 17e. If the leaks are even half right, this little phone could have a royal flush that no other iPhone in 2026 can beat. Not even the 18 Pro Max. And the wild thing? Its biggest advantage has nothing to do with cameras or AI or some ridiculous new zoom lens. It might win because it doesn't get bigger. Now, quick note before we dive in. Everything I'm about to talk about comes from leaks, rumors, and analyst predictions. Apple hasn't confirmed any of this yet. Specs, names, exact features, all subject to change. But the overall direction? That's where things get really interesting. Let's start with something you've probably felt, even if you've never put it into words. Phones are getting absurd. Think about your first smartphone. Now think about what you're using today. Over the last decade, screens have ballooned. For example, the iPhone 6s back in 2015 had a 4.7-inch display. The current regular iPhone is around 6.3 inches. That's not a small bump. That's a different class of device. And if you're in the US, you know the feeling. You sit down in your car, the phone digs into your thigh. You put it in your jeans pocket, it sticks out the top. You try to type one-handed, and suddenly you're doing thumb yoga. We've quietly accepted this as normal. Bigger screen, better phone, right? Well, maybe not. Because while the flagships keep stretching wider and taller, one corner of Apple's lineup is rumored to stay put, the iPhone 17e. And that unchanged screen size, around 6.1 inches, might be its secret weapon. Here's the big idea. In a world where every company is racing to build the biggest, boldest, Pro Max-est phone possible, Apple might win a huge chunk of people by doing something incredibly boring. Just not growing. Let that sit for a second because it sounds almost too simple. The regular iPhone has already crept up to about 6.3 inches. The new iPhone Air is rumored around 6.5 inches, thin, light, but still a big phone in the hand. The Pro Max? That's practically a tablet with a camera. Great if you treat your phone like a portable TV. Not so great if you just want something that disappears in your pocket. Meanwhile, the E-line, the budget-friendly series, is rumored to hold the line at 6.1 inches for the iPhone 17e. Is 6.1 inches tiny? No. Is it compact by today's standards? Absolutely. It's the size that still feels human. You can actually reach most of the screen with one hand. It slides into a front pocket without feeling like a metal clipboard. It doesn't make your hand ache after a long texting or scrolling session. You can use it while holding a coffee or a bag in the other hand. That matters more in real life than any 5x zoom headline. That's the first card in the 17ES Royal Flush. Size as a feature, but it's not the only one. Let's talk about a rumor that's flying under the radar. The iPhone 17e is expected to get a center stage selfie camera. If you've used an iPad lately, you probably know what that is, the camera that follows you around in video calls, zooms and pans automatically to keep you in the frame. But here's the twist that's being reported. On the 17e, it could be optimized so you can take landscape selfies while holding the phone vertically. Imagine this. You're holding your phone, just like you always do, straight up, vertically, but the camera system frames something that looks like a proper horizontal photo. Group selfies, travel shots, content for YouTube or TikTok, all easier without those awkward, shaky sideways grips. So while everyone else is talking about crazy telephoto lenses on the Pro models, the 17e might be quietly getting the most practical upgrade. A selfie system that actually matches how people hold their phones in real life. Now combine that with another big rumor. The iPhone 17e could be powered by an A19 chip. Again, not confirmed, but Apple has a pattern of putting last-gen or slightly down-tuned flagship chips into its more affordable phones. If the 17e really gets an A19, that means this entry-level iPhone could feel fast for years. We're talking long-term performance, long-term software support, and the ability to handle whatever iOS 20-something throws at it. 4. The average person, that's huge. You're not buying a cheap iPhone that feels old in 2 years. You're buying a smaller iPhone that quietly keeps up. Rumors also mention an 18-megapixel front camera paired with that center stage magic, and a new in-house C1 modem to improve connectivity and efficiency. Translation: better signal, more stable data, and a bit more battery life squeezed out of the same physical space, if Apple pulls it off. Now let's talk about the outside. The iPhone 16 is reportedly stuck to the older iPhone 14 style, squared-off shape. For the 17e, leaks say Apple might finally move it into the newer iPhone 15 style design, with softer, more tapered edges. That might sound minor on paper. In your hand, it's not. Those slightly rounded sides make a phone feel thinner and lighter than it really is. They dig into your palm less. Combine that with a 6.1-inch footprint, and you've got something that doesn't just look like a budget device. It feels like a normal, comfortable iPhone instead of a brick. Materials will likely stay simple. Don't expect titanium or some exotic alloy. But that's the whole point of the E series. Familiar, comfortable, and affordable. Now, what about the display cutout? The notch versus dynamic island question. Some early rumors claimed the 17 would finally ditch the classic notch and move to a dynamic island-style cutout. Newer leaks suggest Apple might reuse the same display panel from the 16e instead. Here's the truth. For the kind of person buying a 17e, this probably doesn't make or break anything. A dynamic island would look more modern and match the rest of the lineup. A notch would look a bit older, but it's still completely usable. Neither one changes the core value of the phone: the size, the comfort, and the longevity. Battery-wise, reports point to something in the neighborhood of the 16e, roughly 4,000 mAh, with Apple likely sticking to around 20 watt wired charging and the usual 50% in about 30 minutes marketing line. Will it shatter any charging speed records? No. Will it be good enough for a full day for most people? Almost certainly, especially paired with a power-efficient chip and modem. So when you put all those rumored pieces together, what picture do you get? Not a flashy, spec sheet-dominating monster. You get a phone that quietly nails the basics. A size you can actually live with. Power that keeps it feeling fresh for years. A selfie system tuned for real-world use. A design that's comfortable, not just pretty. Battery and connectivity that are good enough, not headline bait. And here's where we circle back to that royal flush idea. On paper, the iPhone 18 Pro Max will almost certainly crush the 17e. Bigger screen, better cameras, more advanced features, probably more AI layers than anybody asked for. But most people don't actually need that. A lot of people don't even want that. They just want the best iPhone, and right now best is being defined by size and price tag. The 17e quietly challenges that. It says, what if the best iPhone for you isn't the one with the most cameras? What if it's the one that doesn't feel like a burden to carry every single day? Think about how you really use your phone. You grab it to check a text while holding groceries. You navigate with one hand while your other is on the steering wheel. You scroll in bed and your wrist starts to hurt from holding a giant slab above your face. You toss in a pocket at the gym, or in a small bag, or in a jacket that wasn't designed around a giant screen. In those moments, who actually wins? The 18 Pro Max or the 17e? That's the last card in Apple's hand here, and maybe the strongest one. Restraint. While the entire market runs toward bigger, heavier, more overloaded phones, Apple can quietly keep one model that stays put. Same manageable size, modern guts, fair price. A phone that respects the fact that not everyone wants a device that dominates their entire hand. If Apple plays this right, the iPhone 17e could end up being the real people's iPhone in 2026. The one parents buy for their teens. The one professionals carry as a reliable daily driver. The one smaller-handed users don't struggle with. And the one budget-conscious buyers pick because it does 95% of what they need without taking over their lives or their pockets. Will it get the loudest applause at Apple's event? Proba. Why not? Will it dominate tech YouTube thumbnails on launch day? Unlikely. But 3 years later, when the hype around the Pro models has moved on, there's a good chance the 17e is still out there, still updated, still comfortable, still doing its job, and still fitting in your pocket. So as we get closer to 2026, and the leaks keep rolling in about Apple's next big thing, Keep an eye on the smallest piece of the lineup, because in a world obsessed with more, the iPhone 17e might prove that just enough in the right places is the real power move. What do you think? If these rumors pan out, would you pick the 17e over a massive Pro Max, just for the size and comfort alone?